All right. Just fix the camera here. All right. So let's get this new survival streak going. All right, here we got a simple mate in one. Even though we're down a boatload of material, king is very unfortunately placed. Here we can just take the queen. Easy enough. Back rank mate here. Here we can just take with the knight. Back rank mate. Mate in one. Boom. There's another mate in one with two bishops and a knight. Interesting. So looks like we're just coming in with the queen. Oops. Coming in with the queen here. Deliver mate. There's another one. This is a nice mate in one. Look at the queen on the long diagonal. Really nice. Here we have kind of a smothered mate on f3. Boom. We'll set up the back ranker by just pushing the king in the corner. And here we can just take. Not much to that one. Here's a nice way to win the queen. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't calculate that part, but we're good. Knight to f3. It's gonna be mate. Yo, pin drop. What's up, man? How you doing? So let's look at the material balance here, because I do see kind of a neat tactic, but gotta make sure that we're already not down a boatload of material. Good, man. So we can actually take this rook on... I don't know about that, actually. Take the rook. Bishop takes. Well, we would be, after we take the queen, we would be on that rook on f1. So I think that's the kind of the key thing in the puzzle. This actually seems to work. So you don't really have time. Because I saw that white was also winning the position there. So it looks just like this queen f6. Black to move. We can just liquidate into a complete winning king and pawn ending here. Notice the king had to step in front of this, pawn. You know, we gain a really critical tempo there. That's a dark square disaster. Here we should come with the rook so we can land on f2. Boom, boom. Yep, this will be mate. So in this position we need to check, and then we don't want to promote. We don't want to promote here. What we want to do is actually give mate here. Let's see. If we push f6, that forces rook takes, and then we'll be delivering mate. Here's a nice way to win a pawn, win two pawns, and then the exchange, actually. That's gonna be... That's a good one. Okay, So material balance in this position. This is about the time where I start wanting to slow down just a little bit because, you know, we're 25 in. You know, you're getting to the point where the most obvious move is probably not the answer. So right now we're down the exchange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're down the exchange and a pawn. So looks tempting to open the G file, but I think there are concrete problems there after rook takes, pawn takes, queen e6. Hey, pin drop, remember no moves in the chat, please. No moves in the chat. G takes f3. G takes f3, rook takes g6, check. Takes. The queen crashes in on... but the queen actually can't. That would be a devastating check if black could deliver it, but actually the queen covers there. Could have a move like rook g7, just trying to... Yeah, I think g takes f3 is good, mainly because the queen will be defending this pawn. If white could play queen takes e6, that would be quite bad. So they play it anyway. So that's the key thing to see in that line. Well, the queen's pinned here, so we can actually just take here. Boom. And just making sure that looks good. And then we can get out of this and give a check. I think this is the best check to give. And then we can pick up that rook in the corner. So here we actually want to take with the G rook. Okay, that way we can set up a really nice mate. The king's boxed in here. So we want to get the hogs on the second rank. Alright, looks like we can just crash through on c2, knight c3, king a1, rook takes a2 with mate. Very, very classic mating pattern here with rook and knight. That's really important to know. Alright, couple of candidate moves here. We're down 3 pawns in this position, but this knight on c6 is loose. And the nice thing is, after we play queen c4, let's say king h7, we take on c6. If king takes g6, we have queen takes e8. So that knight is kind of immune right now. So I think that all works out pretty well for us. Okay, we calculated that line. When I first looked at that problem, I'm like, oh, are we going to walk into a self-pin and get this nasty discovery on the queen? But here's a nice one. This bishop's loose. We can take on d3, king takes, push c4, and then double back and take this bishop. Loose pieces drop off, as they say. So what's the material balance here? We're just basically down the exchange, but we can just pick up this rook with check and then take the bishop takes g4. Important not to play queen takes g4 because we need to keep contact with the h2 square. But this comes with check, and then we can take there and then just take all the stuff off, and it's completely winning. All right. So here, queen h4, forcing queen h5, but then we can duck back to the f6 square. And unfortunately for white, they would have to interpose, and that's just going to be mate. So it's kind of like a little loop-de-loop. The old loop-de-loop mate. Now, I look at this position, immediately what catches my eye is this extremely vulnerable queen who's way behind in enemy territory and is lacking squares. Yo, SJD, what's up, man? So, bishop c8 just looks like an absolute killer move here. There's pretty much nothing white can do about it except playing queen e7, and we're just gonna win. We're just gonna win a knight. So it's pretty much the only move for white in that position. I guess black could have also taken the the bishop instead. Okay. Man. Very simple caveman move, queen h3 looks pretty much unstoppable. Just crashing through here. It's a really nice example of a space advantage. This pawn on e5 just being a spearhead to attack, just basically cutting black's forces in two. Like, these pieces would love to be able to get back and defend. Oop, this fire there. But it's almost like this e-pawn is just cutting the board off in half. So SJD says he played 3 hours of chess today and went from 320 to 380 elo in rapid. Boom. Awesome, man. Really good job. Really proud of you, man. I hope you're having fun. That's the most important thing, okay? If you're having fun playing the game, the rating's going to come. It should hopefully not feel like a grind right now. Congratulations. Yep, I think just queen h3. So, yeah, to see that kind of improvement, SJD, I know you started back in January. That's really good. Okay, here I think, we really want, I mean, there are a couple things that we want, right? But I think the main thing in this position is actually white's only source of counterplay is this pawn majority, okay? And before we start pushing our own agenda, we just kind of need to blockade this. So I think the move here is bishop e3, hitting the a2 pawn. Bishop b6 is kind of forced, but then we just take with the bishop anyway. We're crashing through on the a file. Looks good. Okay, man. Just try to not, if you suspect somebody of cheating, just move on, okay? Report them, and I know it's easier said than done, but just try to move on. Okay, all right, they pushed that way. So, I see. So if this check, the important, that was the only thing I was like trying to calculate there. The important thing here is that we just block with the bishop. Okay. This is an interesting one where we both have pretty far advanced past pawns. So we got this nice check that we can give potentially on e4. The king's not going to want to go to the back rank for obvious reasons, because our promotion would come with check. So really the two moves you got to consider there are king h3 and f3. I'm just wondering if king h3, like if we have a move like g5 and actually just try to get some sort of like Or even king h5 and try to get some sort of mating attack. I don't know. If king h3, we could... Yeah, I'm just not actually seeing that. Maybe we just got to promote right away. Maybe that's the... just the fact that we're promoting a tempo faster than... Yeah, and if queen h3 after we promote, giving a disruptive check, we just play king g7. White promotes, and I think we're just going to be crashing through quicker. It's just basically who's able to give that first check. But that's basically it. But we don't really have time to mess around with this move now, I don't think. Mainly because after, well, man, I don't know, do we? Is there any reason why we would need to give the check first? Oh no. Why? I really don't understand the difference. Okay. Oh, because it's defending. Yeah, we just got to get to the e4 square first. I completely missed that promotion takes away that possibility. All right, moving on. Looks like we can just crash through here with rook takes. That was a logo 3 followed by a layup. But, you know, we're not going to get preoccupied with the relative difficulty of these puzzles. You know, it's just... So we can just deflect the king to an unfortunate square here, I think, and just crash through. Yeah, I just didn't trust my instincts at all in that puzzle, which is, you know, just crazy. All right, material balance here, even. Our queen's on prise. We've got some attractive looking checks, in particular knight f3. Knight f3, g takes, rook takes. I mean, knight f3, g takes, rook e1, queen h2. Just if you blunder, you just gotta. First of all, don't quit. Anything can happen, especially at your rating level. But just try to keep queens on. Try to seek complications. Okay. If you simplify the game and you just trade pieces, it's capitulation. It makes the conversion too easy on your opponent. So you're gonna want to keep the game complicated, keep queens on the board, and take it from there. Maybe it's just as simple as queen f3 takes rook takes king h2, and then just queen g6, where there's really no way to just prevent a mate on g1. I think that's probably it. And it's important to give this rook check first, okay? We don't want to check with the queen because we don't want the king to come to f1. So let's bring the rook in, and then we got that. Toughy. Toughy. Okay. So here we just got a mate in one. I mean... And here's another layup. Okay, I mean we just take. Knight takes, and then we come here. Now it's important to take the bishop first. You don't want to play queen a4 first, because pawn to b5 would be a cold shower. We're not ready to take on a6 yet because the knight's still there. So you want to take here first, and then play this, and then we pick up the knight. So it looks like here we can just take this rook and push h2. I'm really not going to calculate it much beyond that. Just seemed very obvious to me. Okay, this is an interesting one. Let's take a look at the material balance. Wow, we are down a rook and 2 bishops and 2 pawns. All right, we need to bring home the bacon. Now, obviously queen e8 looks like a very attractive move. And of course after rook takes, knight f8, rook takes f8 is mate. But the problem is black doesn't have to be so cooperative. They can play in that position. Just knight f8. And then what? Do we have time to coordinate something on g7? Do we follow queen e8 up with Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, I completely blew this material evaluation because obviously there's a queen present. So we have a queen for a rook, 2 bishops, and 2 pawns. Okay, so, you're talking, if you're looking at it from a material point perspective, which is kind of a rough way to evaluate a position, we're down like 4 points of material. So you like a king fianchetto. That's cool. King's Indian. There's also, you can start with knight f3 and play an opening called the King's Indian attack, which is like playing the King's Indian a tempo up. So we just got to reverse our move order here. All we have to do is take this rook, and after bishop takes, then we crash through. Basically. Yep. Just recognizing that the tempting move, okay, here we got a really classic queen sack mate pattern that you guys should all know. Notice, I was just pointing to the bishop on b2 like you could actually see it. Look at this bishop on b2. Wasn't using my, use your arrows, Tom. Use your arrows. So I was telling one of my students yesterday, they love, when I'm at the elementary schools, they love trying to come up to the board and show me the moves, and I'm always like, use your words. Use your words, Okay, because I want them to start naming the piece and naming the coordinate. So I need to follow my own advice here. Basically, we got to get something going on the king side here, because we are LOST on the queen side. Welcome to the Sicilian defense. But I think we can get it. We can get it going just by this kind of clearance sack. All of this has to come. This all has to be very, very forcing. But I think we might be able to get a position where we end up taking this rook. That would force king g7. We then bring the rook in. Let's say king f8. This is just one of those lines that you have to play. Like if you don't have a check in this position, you're just lost. And queen c1 just doesn't get it done because, you know, black could just block with knight d2. So rook h1 is basically forced. There's absolutely nothing to calculate. Same here. We need a check, otherwise we are just absolutely lost. So there's really nothing to calculate. Rook in. Now, why didn't the king go to f8? Ah, okay, because then we'd have rook f7 and then we would double back. So here we can take. The bishop comes to f8. Again, we need all forcing moves here. So, what to play? We just need to get the queen playing. That's the main thing. We need to get the queen into the game, so it might involve at some point another sacrifice, like pawn to g7 or something. Take, pawn to g7. Pretty much forces yeah, and then the queen crashes through. So this is the way we get our queen into the game. We give up this pawn, but the queen crashes in on a7. So, I mean, I view a puzzle like that as relatively easy, just because you're just calculating and finding only moves. You're just calculating and finding only moves. That's why the onus, like when you play a combination, if you go in for a sacrifice, the onus is really on you to calculate that, because it's so much easier for your opponent. Let's say they just missed one of your ideas, missed a tactic. Then it's on the board and it's much easier to calculate, you know? Especially as the line progresses. You know, if there's an only move in the position, they're going to find it. Whereas, you know, before you played maybe a sacrifice for an attack, there are a lot of permutations, a lot of variations to calculate to make sure they all work. It's easy to miss them. So is it... Oh, it's black to move here. I got completely disoriented the way, you know, because... You're expecting black's king to kind of be on this half of the board, but it's like we've almost switched sides. So black is going this way. White is going this way. And in this position, we are up the exchange. So I'm wondering if there's some way for us to keep this pawn alive. Do we want to keep this pawn alive? Is it possible to gain time on this bishop somehow for a particular goal? Very strange position. That last puzzle, by the way, was rated 2448. I see why Canty. By the way, he's a chess.com streamer. I'm talking about FIDE Master James Canty. He does 50 up, 50 down in his stream, and I can see why he does that. That's a nice number. I'm already at 45. We're only 34 minutes. 34 minutes in. Oh, so when I point to stuff, you can actually see it. Oh, that's cool. I'm just, if White's king were in a bad way, I'd be more optimistic about the rook and bishop. There's certain positions where, like, if our kings were reversed, where you can combine mate threats against the king and also gain time on the bishop and win those positions. That's not really doing here, so I don't really see a way to win this position unless we keep the pawn on the board. I really don't. So I'm gonna play that move. And yeah, again, there's basically one move in the position. I think it's G3. Yeah. Now what? So here's our tempo gaining move against this bishop. We had talked about that. And this is the time that we cash it in, okay? Rook B2. Which allows our pawn to go through. Nice, really nice puzzle there. I like that one a lot. Okay, so queen takes is incredibly tempting for me to... Queen takes G7, by the way, is an incredibly tempting move to play. So let's just calculate this out. Queen takes G7, king takes, knight F5, double check, forcing the king to G8, and then we have knight H6, mate. The power of the double check. It's just such an awesome tactic in chess. Just give me a second while I let Chessicata. Hey, buddy. Upstairs, buddy boy. There you go. There you go, Chess. Got to take care of our mascot, of course, the one and only. What's going on here? What is going on here? I actually think in this position we want to play the move Bishop D6. Just throwing the bishop in there. Because if the king takes, Queen C5 is mate. Okay, that's a nice attraction tactic. And the problem that Black has is if he steps to D8, we've got a really nasty discovery. Knight takes E6, double check. Okay, and then we're just crashing through on the D8 square with the queen. Okay, it's important to do this double check though, because we don't want to get hit with G6. Double check. Boom. And then there's going to be a mate. Mate there in short order. What's going on here? All right, we're up to 48 here. So our queen is in kind of a bad shape here. So we got to look for something pretty good. We're also down 2 pawns, which is unfortunate. Yeah, there's not much doing on the H file. But maybe we can get something going with this bishop. I feel like we got to play a bishop move, you know, because black is adequately defending the h1 square, so it's difficult to crash in there. And you know, if we play bishop c5 and white plays d4 in response, we could take there. Could take there, deflecting the queen, and then the h1 square is available. I think that's pretty much all we got in the position. Okay, so the bishop comes back. So I think we probably take. And now we can play rook h1, because after takes, the rook on f1 is loose. So we'll end up in this position, which, well, that's going to be easy to convert, because after king h2, queen f2, we're picking up the rook. Picking up the rook there. All right, we're 49 out of 40. We're 48 out of 49. We do have one strike. Well, we're 49 out of 50 is what I should say. Here, I think giving the check and then swinging the rook over looks pretty good. Can't really bring the rook to the f file first, because black would just take the check. There's nothing doing on the a2 g8 diagonal, so I think we got to come in here. It's kind of a forcing move. Okay. So queen takes would drop the bishop, so I'm thinking we got to play rook takes in this position. I think rook takes. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Alrighty, I think that's where we'll stop. 50 up, 50 down. I'm doing such, you know, I don't think while I'm working through the calculation book by Jakob Ager that I'm gonna really kill myself with these survival tactics, like, you know, getting into the 60s and doing 3,000. I think 50 up, 50 down is a very nice thing to do, and it's something we can do every stream. Gets us warm, but I'll leave the kind of more difficult calculation puzzles to ones that were curated by somebody who is the best trainer in the world. All right, so let me switch the old thing here. So there's no mincing words. Yesterday I was on full tilt. I played 2 games against a really strong player from France. I had winning positions in both of them, and you know, he just kept the game complicated, played accurate moves, and I just kind of blundered in time control. Typical thing on this channel. But from there out, I got, again, just a lot of good positions yesterday. Wasn't able to convert them. But I would rather, in these training games, get better positions than get a lousy position and win on time. I can say that without hesitation, that I would rather get a good position and lose than try to play suboptimal moves quickly just to try to flag my opponent, because you know, that's not going to help me, you know, in my game. So what What is the deal with this opening? I think we can just take here, and on e5 we just kind of bring the knight in. Yeah, this is what I want, pretty sure. Any reason to give some sort of like disruptive check on b4? That actually kind of looks a little annoying. Let's do that. Kind of borrowing this idea from lines you see in the Catalan. Don't know if it's good or not, to be honest, but and I got the feeling here that I really need to play pawn to d5, because I just cannot allow my opponent to play d5 themselves, right? Yeah. I can't imagine that is a possible solution. So in this position, we might get, depending on how white reacts, we might get play against an isolated queen's pawn. Or we just kind of get a position where, you know, we have pretty good long-term pressure on this pawn weakness on d4. I'll have to check my chessable course on this one. Okay, so he opts for that. So I'm just gonna get myself castled. There's but this is what I'm saying about, so after bishop here, this is what I'm saying about this kind of disruptive check. Okay, this bishop on d2 kind of messes up white's coordination a little bit in protecting this pawn. That was the idea anyway. Kind of half tempted to play knight b8 and reroute the knight somehow, but I don't really know about that move. The other move I'm really contemplating is pawn to f6. It looks like I can play this move, especially with the knight pinned. I think this is a nice opportune time to play this move. And if takes, I get, you know, the bishop joins the party on d4. You know, just kind of borrowing this pawn lever from lines that you see like in certain lines of the Italian. You know, with the pawn on e5 and d4 like this, I really gotta start to try to break that down, I think. So he voluntarily lets his man, that can't be right, can it? Just step off this potentially dangerous diagonal. Okay. I think taking makes sense. I hope. Just kind of opening everything up and maybe playing here. Yeah, just going back here, maybe I just wasn't ready to play that move yet. Oh, and he plays f6, right, of course. All right, and we'll come here. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I did a good job with the pawn structure here. That's an understatement. That is a definite. He's even got bishop c2 ideas. Oh, God. She finds, so g6 pretty much forced. Okay. This does give me time, though, to sink the knight in here. Blockade the structure. So that's kind of what I was hoping to achieve. And the nice thing too is in the long term I can just easily defend this pawn. Wow, okay, so I can just take here. Bishop is defended. Maybe we'll get some favorable exchanges for us as possible. Let's see. Well, it looks like we can kind of get coordinated, like this maybe. I don't know, is that correct? Queen g5? I think so. It seems correct to me. Ah, and we have an exchange offered. Which I think is pretty nice for us. And I'm gonna just take this opportunity now to play. Well, let's get the king. C6. Let's play it. C6 also keeps the knight out of b5. It's just kind of a tidy move. Gotta maintain good posture. Oh man, I was watching some coverage of the Reykjavik Open today. on Anna Majas, Majas. I don't exactly know how to pronounce her name. Kazarian. She played the game I watched. She played very well. She ended up losing a tough rook and pawn ending against a GM. The GM she was playing had the worst board posture I have ever seen. It just looked... What's the point of that move? I guess he wants to keep the knight out of... Keep the knight out of c4, but this gives me some time to coordinate. I think. See, now I don't have to worry about like playing a move like knight c7 to potentially blockade this pawn and trap my rook in the corner. My rooks are out, and it makes it difficult for my opponent to try to push this past pawn. So all in all, pretty good. So perhaps a destination for this knight is e6 through that route. We're up a pawn, and the other thing I really like about this position is that this I was going to say the other thing I like about this position is that I think it's time to get the rooks off the board, because this plan of b5 is a lot more concerning to me. It's a little scarier with the rooks still on the board. With the rooks off the board, I really don't care about that, about allowing this. I was concerned about an open b file there. Now I don't have to worry about it. So I think my plan is to get this knight to the e6 square. Very good looking endgame. I basically just, all I need to do in this position is improve my knights. My knight on h6, my knight on b6 stink. But they have a lot of potential. Actually, I'm going to leave this knight where it is for now. Maybe I'd have a better time rerouting this one. Okay, so he starts to creep in a little bit. Let's keep the king out. Our king is in excellent position as a blockading piece. I don't want to move this knight just yet, I don't think. And all my pieces are kind of where I want them. Just gonna bring my king up for now. My knights are both serving a very useful function right now, given the current structure. I like that this knight is keeping this knight at bay, because the knight coming in like this could be quite annoying. I really, when I was watching that over-the-board game in Reykjavik, I really admired just how how patient that GM was in the game. Just had so much patience. I like the look of potentially giving up this bishop. Gives my king potential. I don't think we have to fear this exchange at all. Because that minor piece was really good. It was putting a lot of pressure on these pawns. You know, and this knight has a really big responsibility in this position. Of making sure that my king doesn't just come flying into the position. And now I feel like I can play a move like h6, which is really nice, which I couldn't with the bishop on the board. This move is totally fine. Now this knight's got some freedom to move about the board. We don't have to worry about an incursion by the king. And my opponent always has to worry about okay. So let's give a check here. I just need to find the correct way for my knight to get into the position. I think I found it. So knight's got to be very careful that it doesn't get too far away from all the goings on. Yep, that's a big time problem. Knight check shadow. Oh my god! I was just a mouse slip. I just mouse slipped. Oh well, not a big deal. That was a very good game we played. I obviously wasn't trying to do that. Nah, that's all right. We'll play this guy again. That was a good game. Like I said, yo, $5 Chen, what's up, man? Just mouse slipped a totally winning position. It's all good though. You know, we find a guy who's clearly playing straight up, loves the game, premium member. Like, we're not just gonna keep fishing until we find some cheating jerk, right? May as well just do the rematch. Sorry, I'm just trying not to get, you know, you do a mouse slip like that, like, you know, big whoop. Big whoop. Guess like the hustle here. Most important, you know, thing in that position was that played really well. Oh, I was thinking I have something that I clearly don't in this position. That is not a move. All right, we already find ourselves in kind of a junk position, unfortunately. But I think as long as we keep control over e5, we're totally fine. I think actually the best way to defend this pawn is just like this. Like, I don't want to play b3 and then have to thinking about moves like d3 and all that jazz. But I do, you know, in certain lines have to watch out for f2, certainly. Okay. Actually, it's not the biggest deal to allow queen f2, is it? I actually think it's fine, the more I look at it. You know, my opponent's got a lot of stuff hanging himself, so you know, we get in a move like d4, that'd be nice. This knight's doing a great job of keeping the back rank safe, and okay, well, we obviously don't want the rook to crash through there, but let's just play here. There's just no reason to even allow a move like that. even try to calculate that. So a lot of pawn weaknesses in my opponent's position that I'm hoping to exploit, basically. Okay. So I'm happy to trade that pawn on a2 for that central pawn in e6. But you know, obviously my position is not what I want it to be. So this is supported by the knight. And I've got b3 and d3 covered, so okay, we take with the knight. Activates our knight a little bit, which is nice. And what I really like, what I just noticed about, oh well, actually, gotta start playing this a little closer to the vest. Like I've been telegraphing my moves a little too much. That's what I was going to say before. I like the fact that my knight can come back and defend some key squares and protect my back rank for the time being. It's a nice feature into the position. So the Staunton Gambit is not going to be my main repertoire. Again, that's just another one of those kind of stopgap things that I've been in, that I've just been working around with for a while. Queen's got a pretty active square here, so I'm going to try to just knock her off her perch, basically. You know, before black can coordinate something on the rank. Oh, I missed that the queen was defending that. Oh man, that's a problem. That's a big time problem. Big time problemo. Yeah, this position is just so rotten. Yeah, I think I'm just going to move on from this position. This game's just... That game is toast. If I could have played knight d4 there. No, I got a castle before I play that. Just giving up the bishop like that? Really? That can't be good. So in so many of these, so I could take this pawn back if I want to. Do I want to? Yeah, probably. In so many of these, do I have something better? Not really. In so many of these D5 Italians, Berlins, you're giving up this pawn. It looks quite good. But we can come here. threatening something nasty. Just getting pieces in the attack, basically. This kind of reminds me of like a martial attack or something. Hello to everyone in the chat. As you can see, we hit our 160 goal the other day. Man, that move looks so good. Just play it, Tom. Just looks so strong. It's just completely opening up the White King. Now, what's the follow-up? Probably this. If this doesn't lead to checkmate, I don't know what I have to do to win a chess game. I literally do not know. $5 chess. I'm using, actually, I guess, well, I'm using the piece animation called Arcade. So if you go into your settings and you change your piece animations, just make it Arcade, and you'll be good to go. That's how you do it, folks. Who says the Berlin is boring? That is the Berlin. That is why I'm playing this, okay? And I've said this a lot of times on the stream in defense of my choice when people are saying, "How could you play it? It's so Josh." This is what you get. D3 or some sort of anti-Berlin, I would say under master level, basically 90% of the time, okay? They're not going in for the endgame. So I'm totally fine going for the endgame. I know the theory well. I think it's incredibly rich and very interesting, and I've won plenty of games from it. But by and large, it's just kind of like a big opening bluff. I know my opponents are generally not going to want to go in for it, so instead of facing more of a mainline Spanish, my opponents are playing D3. Okay, they'd much rather play D4 in one move, and I'm not having to waste a tempo with A6, and I'm getting my bishop to C5. Misfire again, C5 very actively. and not running into like a quick c3 or d4 like you do in the classical variation. So you just end up basically getting really good versions of the Spanish. So I see a spike in the eval here. I'm guessing my sacrifice was not best. So I guess I could have gone for this quick knight d4 here before I castled. Yeah. Okay, I missed that opportunity. If you can exchange this knight for this knight in e4, e5 openings, you're doing fantastic. The knight in c6 is black's really only problem piece. Okay, yeah, so we've established that. And you can almost always give up this pawn on c6 in these lines. So I think our opponent made the correct decision here. You know, because I think if you try to play something, I don't know, like this, knight g4 is a huge problem. Huge. Man, you even have ideas like e3 here, where if takes, you have this fork. I mean, this is not a move. You do not want to deal with this. Let's say you get a position like this. I mean, white's just going to get crushed on the dark squares. So I think my opponent did the right thing blockading there. But I get knight g4 in anyway. Bishop b7 was not good. Oh my god, bishop b7 just hangs the knight. I totally missed that. I wonder why the thing spiked. Could maybe just force this weakness now, h4, and then bishop b7. Hello. With the idea of e3 and everything I did in the game. Wow, what a blunder that was. Knight takes f2, brilliant move. Boom. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And my opponent played the most critical try, which is here. So what I was looking at was in this position, just playing e3. Look at this. Good luck stopping that. And because this pawn is defending this square, you can't even defend on the second rank because it's just mate. It's over. Ooh, yeah. Do I have to go, Bagels? My wife just made me an offer I can't refuse. LOL, yes, together. Do I have time? Do I have time to play one more game? Sorry, this is a family matter right now. Talking with my wife. One more game and then I can go? Where do we gotta go now? Alright. Kid's got the shoes on. That means I'm gonna have to call it here. I think this is a good game to end on anyway. You know, we got a brilliant move here. A really nice attack that we basically played perfectly with the exception of, you know, hanging our knight after bishop b7. But, you know, it's good for me to get these games under my belt because I'm really getting a feel for the dynamic compensation that black has in these lines where maybe you're giving up the pawn on c6, you know, to get d5 in, or a central pawn. Black's just got fantastic play, and white was behind in development the entire game. So let's go back to that brilliant move. I'll leave that on the board. Boom. All right, so yeah, thanks $5. This is the deal with weekends. I just kind of jump on when I can, and you know, I got a lot of stuff to do. It's not like during the week. So $5, really glad to see you. Thanks for checking out the stream. Pin drop, good seeing you. SJD, congrats on your recent success in the 10-minute pool. And Bagels, of course, I will see you soon. GG. Okay, I gotta go. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and come over to Twitch already. Help us reach our 170 follower goal. Okay, we're already up to 161. Want to keep this momentum going. Really appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I will see you tomorrow at some point, hopefully. Bye.